Hey, I know how it is. Sometimes I steal a car and almost kill people all the time.
There it is, right where she should be, or maybe where she shouldn't be.
You're telling me there's an alternate ship somewhere, and an alternate me in an alternate timeline, and in order to restore that timeline, which you say is the correct timeline, we have to die? The ship has to be destroyed? I don't think so.
Fire!
What was that? Hello! I'm back. This is the third episode of Strange in the World Season 2. If you knew me, if you know me, if you've watched me, you probably think I didn't really love this episode. I like what I like, and I don't like what I don't like. It's very hard to change this late into my life. I don't like the time travel episodes that much. Some time travel episodes have been some of my favorites. Some movies that involve time travel have been some of my favorite movies. I was just kind of done with it. I just don't really need it anymore. It's more getting tired of it. Also, it's a little bit more of a making things complicated. As soon as you involve time travel, what's going on? Multiple timelines running at the same time? One timeline replacing another? How does it work? Frankly, it seems to work however they want it to work. And for me, that's a little bit confusing. If it's a fun episode, I'm willing to go along for the ride. But if the episode isn't fun, it just makes me notice the little things. I didn't really love this episode. I think it may have been the worst so far. It's competing with the second one. Let's just hope they're getting the bad episodes out first. And I know I'm not totally in the majority here. I've seen lots of people love these past few episodes. They're not really for me. I'm going to hopefully explain why. Hopefully by the end of this review you'll know why I think this. This episode doesn't stack up to previous time travel episodes. This episode, frankly, in the middle of it, I wanted to turn it off. I was resisting the urge to turn it off. To be totally frank, had it not been for the requirement of me doing this review, I may have turned it off in the middle of it. I'm glad I didn't. Things kind of turn around, but it's not really any measure of a good episode if you have to wade through miles of garbage to get through a little bit, to get to a little nugget of diamond in there somewhere. There's a diamond in the rough here, but to be honest, it's mostly rough. We're looking for a little speck of diamond in a mountain of rough, whatever rough is. With that out of the way, hopefully I didn't turn you off too much. If you love this episode, hopefully you're going to listen to what I have to say. This is tomorrow and tomorrow and tomorrow. And I didn't love it, I didn't love it, and I didn't love it. How many more times can we have an episode where we need to go back in time to do some kind of thing that we don't want to do, something tragic, to save the future? Stop me if you've heard that before. Actually, don't keep watching this video, because if you try to press pause every time you see something you've seen before, you're never going to get through this review. We have to go back in time to, oh my gosh, somebody dies in the past, somebody doesn't die, whatever, city on the edge of whatever. People love that episode of TOS. I'm not that big on it. I don't know, it's good, but like I said, I don't love the time travel episodes. My favorite one is Yesterday's Enterprise, because it barely involves time travel. See, it really throws the whole concept on its head. Yesterday's Enterprise, and this is not a review for that, that TNG episode has somebody else come to us, alter our present, and we don't understand that our present is not the normal present, and we have to send somebody back in time to their death to go back to our normal timeline that we don't know is normal. And the whole episode is presented as if the alternate timeline that we're in is the timeline that the episode is taking place in. It's really genius. This episode just ain't so. Leanne, this is for flavor. Leanne is walking around the Enterprise. Security detail, as it were. I guess she's checking up on this, looking into that. who stole this, who's doing that. Spock, please stop playing your harp so loud. We got a number of anonymous complaints that it was too loud. Can you really hear his harp playing through these, what I assume are thick walls between these quarters? I don't know. It's not important. It's just a moment to see Spock flustered for a brief moment. We've been getting a lot of that lately. But Spock says, "Oh, I will endeavor to play less vigorously next time." Fine. It's just there for flavor. We meet Pelia, our engineer. It seems like she's in possession of a number of quote-unquote stolen relics, although to her, being that old, these could be heirlooms. If you don't know, Pelia is very, very old. It remains to be seen exactly how old. She mentions to Leanne, this is important, that she had a bunker in Vermont in case this whole future stuff didn't work out. Like in case the Federation didn't work out. I mean, we know what happens. The burn happens. I wish we didn't know that. But, Pelia, put a pin in it. Pelia, on Earth, had a secret bunker in Vermont. This is this place on Earth back in the day. Now that that's out of the way. There was a scene where Mbenga and Leanne were fighting. They were training. But you know, when you have fisticuffs, when you have physical contact training, it's never really training, is it? Dramatic reasons, you put that in a TV show, in a movie, what have you, to show that there's an internal struggle reflected in the external struggle. They're training. It looks very kinetic. It was kinetic, frenetic. There was the editing. It made it look like they were both very strong. I thought it was very cool how they did it. Normally, I'm not really into that in Star Trek, but for this moment, it was kind of working. You know, real pugilists here. And Benga's, you know, he's prying at this idea. There's something bothering you. Why don't you talk to it with a counselor or something like that? Maybe they can help you. I can tell there's some kind of internal turmoil. Probably because of your last name. I hate to say it. For those who know, they know. I kind of wish we didn't have that going on in Strange New Worlds. I was ready to leave baggage behind when this show started. I was ready to leave Pike's future, as it were, behind. I was ready to leave Noonien-Singh stuff behind, if you know what I mean. I didn't feel we needed the whole Ghosts of Valyria episode, if you know what came of that. I was ready to just have a clean slate. You know, I enjoy clean slate characters. I like to see what they do going forward. You know, I don't like dwelling in the past. It's not really my thing. But Leanne is dwelling. Leanne needs to incorporate the shadow of Khan to move forward, to get past it, to accept it. And this is what we're picking at in this fight, you see. And that's at the core of this episode. Thematically, that through line carries all the way through to the end. You have to go through a lot of nonsense to get to the end. But for me, it wasn't really worth it. Maybe for you it is. We'll get into why in a moment. Leanne is shook. It appears someone from ancient Earth, that being the 21st century, appeared out of nowhere on the Enterprise as she was walking by. Bullet hole. What? He's dying from a bullet hole. Is you a time traveler? Okay, he takes out a little, I mean, it looks like a scarcely modified communicator. It looked bad, this prop. Holds it out. Graphical display shows up because everything has to be a hologram now. That's how you know he's from the future. It's a hologram. But the hologram, you'll note, if you're paying attention, you'll note looks exactly like the displays on the Relativity. The time ship from the future. If you don't know, there is a quote-unquote Starfleet time travel division in the future that deals with temporal anomalies, temporal incursions. I'm going to go ahead right now and assume this character that appeared to be from the past is actually from a ship like the U.S.S. Relativity. They're from Temporal Investigations. They're from that timeline. Think that design language. Cool to see it coming back. I like little canon things here and there. You can watch that episode of Voyager if you want to. Look it up. Look up Star Trek Voyager Relativity. And you'll go down the hole of where that came from. It's very interesting. He gives this time travel handheld device to La'an. Here you go, La'an. What happens here? Boop. Press the button. We're in a different timeline Enterprise. How did this happen? I don't know. It's technology from the future. It's not my job to know. Kirk's on the bridge. Kirk is the captain in this alternate timeline. And it ain't Starfleet. You keep mentioning Starfleet. I don't think it means what you think it means. There's no Starfleet. He's in the United Earth Fleet. And things ain't going so hot. This timeline, of course, isn't as good as our timeline. It would have been a challenging and interesting episode if the timeline we know is not quote-unquote real was better than ours. That would be something. That would be like an actually challenging episode to sink your teeth into. Like, would La'an allow this alternate timeline to exist when it's not the timeline that we know, even though it's better? That would be cool. But sadly, we see it from the other character's point of view. We see it from the point of view of a character, that being alternate reality Kirk, that his timeline is not as good as La'an's. He's the real hero here, make no mistake. And you'll see why in a moment. Hand over the device. You're telling me there's an alternate timeline here. You're telling me my timeline isn't real. Frankly, I think you're crazy. I think you're insane in the membrane. Show me the device, and like this is Looney Tunes or something. We fight over it, and this is the exact moment I wanted to turn it off. I was like, oh no. Oh no. Oh, Bonobo. What the hell's going on here? Our characters fought over this like 5-year-olds and accidentally pressed the button. Like this is something you'd see in a Saturday morning cartoon. Except Saturday morning cartoons hold themselves to a higher standard now. Unfortunately, Prodigy is gone. It seems canceled. And I don't know where its new home will be for Season 2. If I cannot legally watch it, I will not be reviewing it. But I'm not watching this on Paramount Plus. I have to watch these episodes on a thing called Crave. So we're going to see how that works out. Sorry for that little aside. We end up back in 21st century Toronto. It's cold. We need to get rid of our uniforms. Our uniforms are paper thin, and we're freezing. Kirk says he thinks this is New York. It's not. How's your timeline doing? Well, my timeline, Earth is a bombed-out hellhole. Wow. Maybe La'an's timeline is better. In my timeline, Earth is all hunky-dory, and, you can buy whatever you want. You can get the cool ice cream cone, and you can look at the sunset, and the air is tasty. She doesn't say that, but that's just how I imagine La'an's Earth being. Because I have the mind of a 12-year-old. We go into a clothes store of some sort. Kirk walks out with the exact same outfit as La'an, and hey, that's a faux pas of some sort. We can't wear the same clothes. Why, by the way? Why did we walk out with the same clothes? How did that happen? Just another chalk mark on the board of Looney Tunes, right? We fought over the transporter thingy, the time transporter. Boop. And then Kirk even presses the button multiple times like a maniac trying to go back. Who knows what could have happened, right? And then we walk out of our changing booths with the same clothes on. What are the chances? Kirk changes his clothes, but how do we buy it? We're in the past. We need monies. What are we going to do? We need MUNNY. La'an says she has an idea. She slips a wallet, I think, into the shopping bag of someone else to create a diversion when they walk through, and it sets off the alarm and they can pass through like nothing happened. I don't know if that's going to work, but I will tell you a true story in my life. I have a wallet, and it is a wallet. I think it's a wallet in this episode, but in my life, I owned a wallet. I still own it. I still use it. And there was a store where every time I went to the store and bought whatever I was going to buy, and then on the way to leave, I would set off the alarm every time. It was so common that they knew me by sight, and they said, "I just let him go. He's not stealing anything." This is real. I set off that many times that they were getting used to it, and I couldn't figure out what was happening. And then one day we had enough, and I put down my bags and I said, "I'm going to figure this out right now." And I put down my bags, and I walked through my pocket. I took everything out, everything I had, and except for one thing, I walked through the door. I set off the alarm, and I was like, "Oh my gosh, what's going on?" And I was starting to think I had a tooth filling that was setting off the alarm or something, or my glasses. And I was like, "Okay, hold on." I had one thing left in my pocket because I never dreamed that this would set off the alarm. It was my wallet that I've had for like 15 years. It's weathered and old leather wallet, and I was like, "There's no way that this is going to set off the alarm, right?" And I took it out, and I walked through, and it didn't set off the alarm. I didn't have the wallet on me. I went up to the cash register, whatever you call it, and where they sign things out, like they scan it and it beeps. And sure enough, I gave them my wallet, and they scanned my wallet and it beeped. So this old wallet I had, somehow it could be scanned by the machine. Does anybody know what that is? And we were both struck when we saw it, like, how can this be? You never bought this here. It's old. But it was setting off the alarm, and we scanned it out, and I was free to go. Basically, I stopped setting off the alarm. Is there like a chip inside the wallet? Does anybody know what that is? This is real. And it just struck me like a bolt of lightning when I saw this episode. It's like, oh my gosh, that happens to me, or it happened to me all the time. I would try to walk out with my own wallet, and it sets off the alarm. How many people could have snuck out stealing something? How many Laans and Kirks could have snuck through as I was setting off the alarm? I don't know. Does that work in reality? Methinks this episode doesn't really take place in reality. This seems like some kind of hyper-stylized, 12-year-old's idea of reality. Maybe it'll work. I don't know. But they get away with their new clothes on, their new duds. Why would you want to wear that? I wear this in public. I'm cool. They ain't. How are we going to get money? We need money. We can't keep stealing everything. Kirk plays chess against people in this park for money. It plays some awful piece of music I didn't want to hear. It gets worse. It gets worse. They try to get some hot dogs. Laan is Laan and doesn't want to eat a hot dog. I don't want to eat a hot dog. Just eat the freaking hot dog. Laan, eat the hot dog. Captain Kirk is telling you to eat a hot dog. Eat the goddamn hot dog. Anyway, they end up in a hotel, which looks quite swanky, I must say. Did they win that much money at playing chess against random people in the park? I thought this kind of hotel with that level of swank, it probably cost hundreds of dollars. I don't know. But to me, I don't think they made enough money for that. Awkward scenes abound. Laan walks in on Kirk sleeping, and just looks at him. Nothing happens. I don't understand. Why are they... We were trying to develop a relationship between Laan and Kirk, and we end up doing so, alternate Kirk that is, in one episode. And it's just as dumb now as it was back in the day. The one episode romances between Kirk and whoever. It's just as dumb now. I never loved it. It's not my thing. When I think back to my favorite episodes of the past, those usually aren't it. Sorry. It's not my thing. I don't like time travel. I don't like music that doesn't belong. I knew as soon as we went back in time and I saw this ugly CGI bridge, I knew something was going to happen to that bridge, because that bridge don't belong. It does blow up. They're looking out the window of their hotel room, motel, I don't know the difference. Apartment, rent a sleep. Cruise and snooze. I don't know. I'm losing my mind now. Something blows up. It's the bridge. We go to look at it. Maybe that's what's changed. We're trying to find why that temporal investigations guy sent us back here. Maybe that's what changed. Maybe the bomb blew up that bridge, but oh wait, we both remember it. It couldn't have been what changed. What do you think changed? What was going on at the beginning of this episode? What's special about Leanne? You're not stupid. You can figure it out. They can't, though. This is Cartoon Kirk, right? This is Looney Tunes Kirk. This is Looney Kirk's. We go to the bridge. We sequester images from this amateur camera woman. She's taking pictures, and we look, and these burns, that's from a photonic bomb. Huh? Someone's here who ain't supposed to be here. And it looks like that the evidence is being taken away in a black van. We gotta follow that van. So here we go again with something that probably wouldn't work. Kirk Vulcan nerve pinches a guy to steal his very cool red sports car. He leaves the body right there, and they make a point of showing the police are right there. The police are right there. He just nerve pinches the guy, leaves him on the ground, and takes the car. Put him in the car. Put him in the back seat or something. It's his car. He'll wake up thinking he had a bad nightmare and accidentally drove somewhere. We steal the car. Kirk goes from not knowing reverse from drive to driving like some kind of sport car stunt individual. I don't know what you call it. It's all very stupid. But we do get to enjoy another misplaced and annoying tune that thankfully is not the Beastie Boys. It's something that may be even more stupid. And at this moment, I realized I wasn't watching Star Trek. I was just watching something else. I didn't know what show I was watching, but I felt like I was watching some cheap, trashy, procedural, loaded with product placements, and nothing really to say. And that's just kind of what this episode was at this exact moment. For those of you who haven't seen it, I'll sing the song for you. Hopefully the copyright gods won't slam this for me trying to cover it. But let's check it out right now. K-hole at the dolly, seeing the unknown. Well, I might have been on Molly, because my mind's being blown. Take the escalator to the next floor. Such a strong sedator, now I can't find the door. You turn around, and you don't know where you've been, and you look up at the glass dome, and the room begins to spin. Let's go out and find the ocean, 'cause I think we need a swim. Turn around, start it over, let's begin. Okay? Like the minis at the Louvre, spinning down the aisles, and the paintings start to move. Got me feeling really smart, like a 3D picture stereoscope. It's a total light picture kaleidoscope. You turn around and you don't know where you've been, and you look up at the glass dome and the room begins to spin. Let's go out and find the ocean, 'cause I think we need a swim. Turn around and start it over. Let's begin. At the K-hole at the dolly, seeing the unknown. Well, I might have been on Molly, because my mind's being blown. You turn around and you don't know where you've been, and you look up at the glass dome and the room begins to spin. Let's go out and find the ocean, 'cause I think we need a swim. Turn around, start it over, let's begin. And I'm going to put a cool image of like sports cars and stuff on the screen so that you can get into the mood that the creators of this episode wanted you to get in. So I think I may have been on Molly, which I think is probably short for molybdenum. Kirk almost runs somebody over with the car. They get arrested by the police. Good. But that girl who we were looking at her camera before, looking for the evidence. She comes back, and she's like, hey, do you know you guys are arresting some famous civil rights person? And the whole internet's going to see it. The whole judgmental internet's going to see you arresting this person who just stole a car, knocked somebody out, almost ran somebody over, and could have killed a bunch of people. But thankfully, our cops have no principles. And they're willing to just let you go.
I'll let you go with a warning for stealing that car, hey, buddy. I'll let you go for a warning, hey. I know how it is. Sometimes I steal a car and almost kill people all the time. Get out of here.
Would this work? Would that work? Holy crap. Anyway, we get away with it, and it turned out that this girl is one of these people who believes in aliens, right? Oh, aliens are doing this, aliens are doing that. They're operating this stuff underground. There's ships everywhere. They're going to abduct people. We know that's real. But she doesn't. Or does she? Right? Curiously, you can't see your ears. New Starfleet regulation, buddy. If you're going back in time, ask to see the ears. You'll notice every time someone is back in time, they gotta cover their ears because, oh no, we can't have somebody see my ears. There could be something different with my ears. You can't have people seeing it. I still can't get used to the ear thing. I don't know. It's not my ears. It's not there. We follow her back to some restaurant, Lakeview. We make a very strong point of showing the name Lakeview in this restaurant. I looked it up. You made me look it up. Thanks. With your product placement. Ford, DuckDuckGo, Canon camera. Thanks. I guess it's some old restaurant that is unique for being old. I don't want to get into it. This is not a restaurant review. This is a review for kind of like a trashy fly-by-night TV show. Like this episode, Tomorrow and Tomorrow. That's what this is a review for. She shows us a picture of what is clearly a Romulan ship. And now we know this is serious. There's Romulans involved. Whenever you're back in time, it's got to be Romulans. We know that from Picard. I'm getting a little tired of it. The first episode was Picard Season 3. Sadly, this episode is Picard Season 2. Yep. How are we going to find out where these Romulans are? This girl says that there's some kind of secret base underground where they're building some kind of reactor. I don't know. A cold fusion reactor? I'm stupid. I don't know. This girl isn't stupid. We'll learn that in a moment. But we just take a taxi to Vermont because remember that's where Pelia said she had a bunker. Bunker. The archaeology department. Yeah, let's just take a taxi to Vermont. Why not? Why not? We're in Toronto. Let's just go to Vermont. It'll take 2 seconds. Yeah, I don't know. If you guys got a bit of money. But we go to Vermont. Pelia's there. We need an engineer. We need an engineer to build something that can detect this cold fusion stuff. That's got to be what's different about our timelines, right? That's got to be where the split happened that we're supposed to fix. Pelia, just by being a very long-lived person, has actually lived multiple lifetimes. They didn't think that far ahead. Pelia couldn't have always been an engineer. No, she's just some kind of, she's a collector. She's a collector of curios and old items. To her, like I said before, probably heirlooms. Let's not look too close into that. Maybe something is stolen. Let's not worry about it. That's not important now. But she was not an engineer always. People living as long as they do now, normal people, normal humans will feel like they live multiple lifetimes. in some certain circumstances. But Pelia probably has lived a lot. She doesn't know anything about finding this reactor. She doesn't know anything about finding tritium. She doesn't know anything about finding byproducts of cold fusion. But what she does have is an old watch, a diver's watch, that glows in the dark. And it's like 80 years old or something like that. And in the presence of the byproducts of cold fusion reaction, it will actually have its dials glow, right? Because of some type of phosphorus type material. And I used to have one of these when I was a kid, and that was what I had for a toy, was something that glowed in the dark, but it was just a clock. And I used to marvel at it all the time. And it's amazing what can impress you when you're a little kid. But apparently just having that watch, being anywhere near the reactor, will have the hands glow. Man, that's lucky. That we're just going to walk around randomly, and when our watch glows, we'll know we're over the reactor that we don't know is there. Based on something this girl said that we barely knew. Crazier stuff has happened, and I know people are going to want to say, oh, but this happened in TOS, this happened in TNG. Well, yeah, it did, but it's not fun now. Doesn't make it better. And I will grant that Strange New Worlds is making a conscious effort to feel more like TOS. I really appreciate that. I appreciate the adventurousness of it. I appreciate the pluckiness of it. You know, sometimes things happen for romantic reasons as opposed to logical reasons. I love TOS. So I appreciate that. I appreciate that this isn't trying to be TNG, but weirdly transplanted backwards in time. I'm glad for that. But we do find where the reactor is. Our watch does glow after a romantic scene between Leanne and Khan. When Leanne realizes... Did I say Khan again? God dang it. A romantic scene between Leanne and Kirk, where Kirk realizes he's not aware of this Khan character. He doesn't know anything about Khan Noonien-Singh. So World War III and all that stuff occurred differently for him. Going to show, if you could go back in time and kill him, that might not be a good idea. It's not a good idea to change anything with time. If I had accidentally time traveled back 1 minute, I would probably just hide. You don't want to go changing anything. It is the height of hubris to think that you can actually alter the past to create anything better. Sure, something may be better, but there's also a really high chance that it could go horribly wrong. And such is the moral lesson we try to get past into the viewer's minds in every single time travel episode. Basically, they're all the same. Be careful what you wish for. Don't go back and stop Khan Noonien-Singh. Be careful what you wish for. I just want something different. You know, I'm just looking for something novel, like something different here. We get down into this Noonien-Singh Institute for Cultural something, I forget what it was, and I was waiting for Brent Spiner. Thank you for showing the restraint and not showing Brent Spiner again. As soon as you see that word Noonien-Singh, it's Brent Spiner time, baby, but he didn't show up. Thankfully, he's gone. He's not here. We did not see another relative of Brent Spiner that looks just like Brent Spiner. Brent Spiner, Brent Spiner, Brent Spiner. It's Spiner time. My Spiner sense is tingling. We find this building that must be housing this reactor because we're directly above it. Someone's right behind us, though. They used us this whole time to get in here. It was their game. We were just characters in it. We were just pawns on her chessboard. That girl from before is a secret Romulan. Like I said, show me the ears, baby. Show me the ears. We're back in time. I need to see the ears. You're a secret Romulan. Just like in Picard Season 2. We're back in time, trying to save the future, and we meet a secret Romulan. But this is a bad Romulan, and she's trying to kill us. Kirk calls her bluff, and she literally kills him. She literally shoots him right there. She says she's been waiting 30 years for this chance. She shoots Kirk, setting off the alarm, drastically reducing her chances of sneaking in to this base of operations for Noonien-Singh research, whatever, and killing Khan, which I assume is what she wants to do. She basically lets it be known that time is always being tampered with. It tries to fix itself. It bounces back. It's like an elastic band. I don't know what's going on anymore. In no uncertain terms, she basically says what the writers were thinking was that nobody knows what time even means anymore. When you start to introduce a lot of time travel, nothing seems to mean anything. We were supposed to have this war in 1992, and then we didn't. And I know that if I kill Khan now, there will be no Starfleet, and we'll win. We'll win the day. But if it wasn't for those dastardly temporal investigation guys from the future, if it wasn't for those guys on the U.S.S. Relativity, my plan would have went off without a hitch. But Leanne gets the better of this Romulan. I don't think we find out her name. Dispatches her, in a manner of speaking, and she's right in front of Khan's room. Khan on the door. That's what this was about. That's where we diverged. Kirk didn't know Khan. Khan didn't exist in his timeline. His timeline wasn't favorable for us. Therefore, we're at the door of our own past. We're at Leanne. This is where the only good part of this episode, really. Leanne is at the door of her own heritage that she can erase to create the timeline that doesn't have Khan, which is better for her, but worse for us. Right? So there's this conscious choice to let Khan live, knowing what we know, even though that's the future we need. Right? So it's a personal journey, but it's also a pragmatic journey of, is it worth it to kill him now? And it's not. Right? It's not. You can't kill him. He didn't do anything. Pragmatically, you can't do it. And morally, Leanne's quest is to learn to accept the future she exists in, even though she is related to Khan Noonien-Singh. Little diamond in the rough. She presses the button on her device. Somehow it works now. I don't know why, what happened, but her time transporter works now. I'm not going to kill you, buddy. You just stay here and play with these toys. Do whatever you're going to do. Actually forget you ever met me. Boop! And she goes back to her timeline. Pike's on the bridge. The Kirk she fell in love with is gone. We're back on the normal Enterprise, which looks nothing like the Enterprise. But we're back. And she meets in her own quarters someone from Temporal Investigations. And the Temporal Investigations person actually takes out this little device and flashes her so she forgets everything that just happened. No. That's not what happened. This isn't Men in Black. This is people in temporal investigations. P-I-T-I. Pity. Forget everything that just happened. It's all classified. Don't worry about it. These things happen all the time. Thanks, Leanne. You were uniquely qualified to protect your own ancestor, that being Khan. You found out the secret Romulan without doing the ear check, even though she said, I never quite got used to the ears. So if I saw those ears, I would say, hey, you look at me right now. There's something wrong with your ears. I can see your ears. They don't look right. You are a secret Romulan, and I'm in a time travel plot. Because the writers are out of ideas. That's not what happens. Leanne foils their plot once again somehow, and ends our episode off by calling up Kirk, who, I don't know, is he on the Farragut right now? I know he's not captain, he's Lieutenant Kirk or something like that. I don't remember what ship he's on. Can I just talk to you for a minute? Uh-oh, it's about Sam. What did he do? No, Kirk, I fell in love with you in an alternate timeline, and I just wanted to see your face. That's the episode. That's this episode. That's this Looney Tunes episode. Done. Tomorrow and tomorrow and tomorrow. Musically, it made me... I thought my brain was going to explode. Musically, I thought my consciousness was bending in over on itself and about to snap. The music made me furious. It didn't belong there. I don't know what was happening or why we need to hear it. Visually, this is another cheapskate episode. It just takes place miraculously wherever we were filming, like Vasquez Rocks back in the day. We're in Toronto. I guess Toronto is the new dirt cheap place to film things. I don't know. I'm just guessing. Thematically, something happens. Plot-wise, I didn't see the whole Romulan thing coming, to be honest with you. Like, they kind of got me. Like, I was kind of surprised. I kind of thought it was going to go in a different direction. So the first 40 minutes of this episode were horrible, and the last 20 minutes was kind of coming around. I was kind of invested, and thematically, it kind of was starting to make sense to me. That's very good. Like I said, the theme of making a conscious choice to accept your own past, as bad as it is, for the good of everyone's future. So, Lan is a real hero, and so was Kirk. Kirk was willing to delete his own timeline based on a whim, because he didn't like what it entailed. His timeline was war, and he chose the peaceful timeline based on what Lan says, on blind faith of the heart. And they went where their heart would take them, and they got strength of the soul, and no one bent or broke them, except someone broke Kirk's. He got shot. So someone did bend or break them. It gets to the finish line, kind of, but to be frank, I'd rather not really have seen it. It doesn't really do much for me. I'm probably not going to be rewatching it. Doesn't stack up to me to previous time travel episodes, but that's not a high bar to reach because a lot of them aren't very good to me. Prodigy did a better one with time travel. So did TNG. This one ain't for me. So I'm gonna go ahead and give this one like a 3.5. The season hasn't been hitting it out of the park for me for some reason. Season 1 was better at this point to me, but at this point in season 1, we already had Ghosts of Illyria, which I didn't like. So maybe it's more close to being even. This episode worked out to be long. It felt it too. There's a few scenes we didn't need. This episode worked out to be 1 hour and 50 seconds long. You couldn't cut 50 seconds just to get it a perfect 1 hour. That would have been so cool, but no, they couldn't do it. 50 extra seconds somewhere in there, I don't know. What can I say? It's hard to be super angry because it's Strange New Worlds, and I know next week it could be a totally different adventure. It's hard for me to be angry. That's why I'm just kind of like happy complaining this episode. I'm kind of having fun with it, right? If this was Picard and I knew that the next episode had to continue off of this thematically and complete the arc introduced here, I would be livid, but I'm not really. So I'm just kind of along for the ride. I'm along for this sports car ride where I might die, and something about a K-hole. I don't know what that is. At the Dali, I don't know what that is. I'm not an Earth historian. That was tomorrow and tomorrow and tomorrow, and hopefully, the day, tomorrow, however many tomorrows we need to go to get to a week, you'll come back to see the next episode or the next review that I do on the next episode. I'm Lieutenant Mark, and I hope this review wasn't too meandering and insane. An insane episode tends to yield an insane review. I'm Lieutenant Mark, and I'm going to see you next time I see you. Thanks for watching this. Goodbye.